Hey everybody, good to see you again. I am currently at in San Francisco at my childhood home, the place where I grew up, and I'm going to use this week to talk about my family a little bit. And the main question that people wanted to know about this week was my religion and what my beliefs are. So I'm going to explain that as best I can, but I want to start by kind of describing the house that I grew up in and what my parents do. So my mom is currently an elementary school librarian. She is the head librarian at a place called Sherman Elementary in San Francisco. And my dad is a psychotherapist and also a poet. So as you can see, I grew up with a lot of books around me, and my parents always read to me and were very supportive of the language arts and a love for words and a love for learning. And I want to make a shameless plug here. One of the reasons that I'm in San Francisco is my dad's birthday is today. And I was up here to celebrate his birthday, and my dad is a poet. And if you've gone through all my videos on YouTube, you've seen that there's one video that's not actually my work, it's my dad's work. And it's a piece called Cumbersome. And all I did in it was take my dad's voice reading one of his poems about a crayfish that escaped from its tank and lived in our house under the refrigerator for 2 months. And I did a stop motion animation for my dad's poem, which is part of a poetry collection that is great that my dad put out a little while ago. And since my dad's birthday was yesterday, I would like to make a very shameless plug for you to maybe make uh, a purchase of my dad's poetry collection. If you kind person out there were to do that and buy my dad's collection online, which I'm going to put a link in the description below for you to check out, I would make a little quid pro quo. You scratch my dad's back, I scratch your back. If you buy my dad's poetry collection and you post a picture of you holding that collection to my Facebook page, I would for free send you a CD. How about this? 2 CDs and a T-shirt. I will personally send you 2 CDs and a T-shirt of mine for free. It's a great deal. You get my dad's poetry collection, and you'll get 3 things. You just have to order it, post a picture on my Facebook page of you holding my dad's collection, and I will message you personally, get your address, and send you a care package. Do that for my dad and for me, and you'd make us all really happy. I love my dad, and I would love it if you did that. It would make him very happy. So, yeah, that would be great. We'd really be starting off from a great place if you did that. Um, so I want to address the religious issue. It's obviously a sensitive subject and one that I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with me on because no one all agrees on religion. But I was really raised in a secular household. My mom comes from many generations back an Episcopalian family, and my dad, 2 generations back, comes from a Jewish family, a Polish Jewish family. That's the Watsky side of the family. My mom's like OG Mayflower, like Daughters of the Revolution kind of thing. But neither of my parents are practicing any kind of organized religion. And so I was raised in a household where the answer when I asked what to believe in was always, we don't know. I don't have any concrete answers for you, which to me was very dissatisfying when I was younger. And I wanted more concrete answers. I remember really distinctly turning 10 years old and kind of like I was a weird kid. I was freaking out. Like I was scared of getting older. The idea of being in double digits and never being in single digits again really freaked me out. And there was a line in The Simpsons, or I think yeah, I think it was either The Simpsons or the Rugrats. I can't remember which. Where either Tommy Pickles or Bart Simpson said, "Oh man, okay, it's got to be The Simpsons because there's no way Tommy Pickles was turning 10. Bart turned 10 and he said, "Man, once you're 10, candy doesn't taste as good anymore, Lisa. You know, it's just all downhill from there." And I remember thinking, "Oh my God, I'm 10. Like candy's not even going to taste good anymore." So this was the turning point for this big existential crisis that I had. And I ran to my mom and my dad and I said, "Mom, Dad, I'm really freaking out. I'm one step closer to death. What's going to happen when I die?" And they were first of all like, "Wow, man, our son is weird. Like this kid's freaking weird." And then I think that the general answer they gave me was, "Oh, probably nothing, just a vast static, and you're gonna lose consciousness and then nothingness." I said, "Wow, that's horrible." They said, "But don't worry, you're not gonna die for a long, long time." And that was never satisfying to me. The idea, because I've always kind of had a fear of the unknown and of death, and would always want more concrete answers than that, and was jealous of people who had religion in their life and something to look forward to. And I think I always had that looming over me and pushed it down. And when I would get afraid and I would, fear mortality and getting older, I'd just take those fears and I'd bottle them up and I'd press them down inside me, and I'd think about something else. I'd turn on the TV, and often I'd get afraid when I was falling asleep. One of my poems, Drunk Text Message to God, kind of deals with this fear in my life. Um, and I never really dealt with the issue until my junior year of high school, when it all came back to kind of bite me because I hadn't dealt with it. And I couldn't stop thinking about it. It was unavoidable, and the idea that I was getting older, I always set lots of goals for myself, and if you set goals and you extrapolate outwards, the ultimate end of me figuring out, okay, what's the end of my goal, was I'm not going to be here anymore someday, and that really scared me. And I was looking for answers, and I didn't want to go on medication because I don't think that's the way to deal with that kind of thing. And I didn't want to subscribe to something I didn't believe in. And I think that people who do belong to an organized religion would say that faking a belief is not the answer anyway. So ultimately, I found this book called The Miracle of Mindfulness by a guy named Thich Nhat Hanh. I'll post that in the description too because it's a wonderful book, and this guy is an amazing thinker who's written a lot of really helpful books. And it's kind of like a beginner's guide to Buddhism and meditation practice. And this really helped me and saved me in my life from running away from my fears, and to find a solution that instead of running away from things that you're afraid of, you actually, when those fears start to come up, dig deeper and explore them. And so you don't let the fears win out. And so the main thing that this book helps me do is to sit down and sit with my fears and not push them away. And I highly recommend it. The answer is I don't belong to any organized religion. If I'm closest to any one thing, it's Buddhism, and the idea of just being present and mindful in every moment. And I don't believe in an afterlife because I haven't really figured out any reason, logically why I would. And the only thing that I believe in is what we see around us in the present moment. And if there is no afterlife, I think that can be a beautiful thing too, because it intensifies the present moment and the importance of trying to live every moment like it could be your last. And I do think that that can be a beautiful thing too. So I acknowledge that a lot of people out there are not going to agree with me, but I don't want to fake something that doesn't seem real to me. And if you are having any problems with those kind of same fears too, it can feel really lonely and really scary. But I assure you that there are other people out there that are having those same thoughts, and it's not going to consume you if you deal with it. And there are ways to embrace it, even though it seems totally terrifying. So I recommend that book by Thich Nhat Hanh, others, and this woman Pema Choörön, who I'm going to post a link to also. Really wonderful stuff. I highly recommend it. And anyway, I'm on a road trip right now. I'm on my way to Vancouver with my buddy and then on to Denver. So I got to get out of here, but I will see you all next week.